All right, my friends, we have one final speaker today. Before I introduce her, I want to sincerely thank all of you for being here for the past 2 days. It has been wonderful to connect, to hear your ideas, and to share this space with you. So thank you so much. It's truly been a joy. You will be receiving just one final email from me that will have a survey link in it. Please give us the feedback, your thoughts on the symposium, anything you want to see next year to help us plan ahead. And with that, I'm very excited to introduce to you all Dr. Amy Bonomi. She is the Dean of the College of Health and Human Services at San Diego State University.
We gotta go here.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Your stamina is good? Yeah. Great stuff today. Yeah. Yeah. I've learned a lot over the last few hours that I've been here. I promise to keep my remarks hopefully to five minutes. But thank you for the honor to speak here at the 2025 SEAL Symposium. The work here that you're doing could not be come at a better time and could not be more important. As we all know, we're facing an aging population, decreasing resources, and an aging population with lots of complex intersecting health needs, right? And as I was listening to the presentations, I want to just give a shout out to my mom, because I hadn't thought about the perspective of seeing older adults from the perspective of the resource that they are. I would call my mom my best friend. She's 79. She lives in Tucson in the desert. She has a ton of health issues. I'm her primary caregiver, so I'm making the drive from San Diego to Tucson to help her. So I'm thinking in the last year, she's had a knee replacement, sinus infections, COVID. She had a major fall, depression. She has some substance abuse related issues, and she's also grew up as a child in extreme poverty, and she kind of continues that mentality of kind of creating a situation where she needs to be in that kind of setting. I'm fortunate from the standpoint that my brother lives about a mile from her, but when we talk about sort of the heavy primary caregiving, it's me. So thinking about her as a resource, though, I'm a dean. I've got a stressful job. Not too stressful, but I call her almost every day, just kind of give her a wind down of the day, get her thoughts. She loves organizational development and organizational culture. So we talk about, some of the things that, might be challenges in my day. And I couldn't navigate a day without her. She's also a tremendous artist. My siblings and I always say, like, her painting should be on the front page of the New Yorker. She talks a lot about environmental justice and social justice. She's an organic farmer. So she does, organic farming in her own yard. So just a tremendous individual and tremendous resource. So thank you for what you're doing. I also want to acknowledge what others have said. We're in a tremendous crisis right now. So we are facing times that we have not before in terms of some of the federal changes coming down that I think none of us anticipated would be as severe as they are. And then also the state budget crisis. So how many of you are facing a crisis from a budgetary standpoint in your own organizations? Looks like about half of the audience. So at San Diego State, we've got a major crisis facing us with regards to our workforce. So the crisis, however, doesn't change who we are. And I think the work of SEAL and the work that you're doing really speaks to that. So when we are in crisis, the best thing we can do is root in who we are, root in our fundamental purpose and our values. That may sound like an overused phrase, but I truly believe that. And Steve and his team are really doing that in terms of bringing us together here today to kind of think about how do we advance health equity and well-being in our older populations? How do we do that in a way that really supports and honors the experiences that we have? Steve and his team and all of you are certainly for our communities and for growing the next generation of workforce that is going to be so important for these communities. I think, when I think about the work that we're doing in the College of Health and Human Services at SDSU, SEAL's work is really a beacon for hope. We have 4 strategic pillars in our college. I won't bore you too much, but one is leading community impact. Secondly is advancing innovative practices. Third is developing students for compelling careers. And the third one is really about inclusion, belonging, and how do we invite everybody, including all of you, into our college space to really think about how do we advance health equity, including in older populations. SEAL's work is already showing us new pathways. Steve comes to my office, maybe every couple of weeks? We have a half an hour quick chat. He's really leading the way in something that we call interprofessional education, which is how do we bring nurses together with social workers, with physical therapy, with occupational therapy, to address some of these complex health needs that our older populations face. We all know when we go into the healthcare provider, we don't usually need to see one person, right? We need to see multiple perspectives, and all of those all those individuals need to know how to work with each other, communicating well, working in a team, really emphasizing that teams and teamwork, collaboration, et cetera. So Steve is really thinking about some innovative ways in which we do this with older adults. The other thing I want to mention, and Steve, I don't know if you talked about this is really innovative models of how do we create residential communities where we're bringing together students with older populations. So I know Steve's team's exploring, like, how do we have housing for graduate students that's paired with housing for older adults, and really the reciprocal pro-social relationships come from joining those communities. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, you heard from some of the county professionals. So we have a relationship between the College of Health and Human Services and the Health and Human Services Agency of San Diego County. It's called the Live Well Center for Innovation and Leadership, or we call it LUCEAL. And essentially what it is, it's really focused on developing career pathways for people who are at San Diego State studying in the health professions and who want careers in the county and maybe have never understood exactly all of the complex things and the innovative things that the county is doing that they might want to do in their own careers. So I was meeting with I'll end on this note. I was meeting with President De La Torre. Does anyone know our president from San Diego State? Had an opportunity to meet her. She's so inspirational. I was asking her, for some advice on what we should really focus on in this relationship with the county, given that our budgets have, essentially we're down to about 1/10 of what we had. And she said, well, we didn't really think about new funding models because we're obviously in an entirely different space where we used to have $1. We now have 50 cents, and we might have 10 cents, right? And it's about matching with community partners where we can all come together with that 10 cents to make our work grow and last. So I want to end on that note and say that I was really inspired by all the presentations today. I want to thank you again for being here. I want to thank Steve and his team, Jocelyn, for the phenomenal work that they're doing, and look forward to hopefully interacting with you before you leave for the day. So thank you so much. And you want me to do anything else? Any other questions? Yes, next year, that'll be next year's focus. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.